Hey, welcome to the Summit Host Hangout podcast, where you'll learn how to host a high converting virtual summit that leads to your biggest signature offer launch yet. I'm your host, Krista from Summit in a Box, and we're diving into a fun topic today and talking all about how to leverage video both during your summit and after to build trust and gain the expert status we are all working so hard for, and really to build superfans in the process. So I've brought a guest in for this, and to give you some background, I have Alex Carmeli with me today. She's a video strategist and the founder of Unscripted Moment, where she's on a mission to help online business owners show up on video with ease and confidence. You don't need a big audience. You don't need to be a tech wizard. She makes it nice and easy. Over the past 4 years, she's supported over 3,000 entrepreneurs in ditching the overwhelm and embracing video as their secret weapon for connection and sales. And really, I know I have so many people in here who hear me mention, oh, I would recommend doing this live for your summit and this live. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be on camera. Oh my gosh, learning from Alex is so perfect for you. So without further ado, let's dive in and talk with Alex of Unscripted Moment. Welcome, Alex. I'm excited to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, this is going to be so good. Like I said, this topic I think is so needed for the people who are just like a little scared or feel like they need to have XYZ before they can show up on video. And I know that's not quite your take. But I'm curious to hear what made you fall in love with video as a business tool. Why is it so powerful?
So to be honest with you, I was the person when I started my business back in 2020 who swore I would never get on video. Before I was in this video thing, I was leadership coaching, and I was planning to go around. At the time I lived in Boston, and I was going to go around to different businesses and do like lunch and learns and do little in-person workshops. And I was like, I will not be doing social media. I will not be getting on camera. So it's kind of ironic that I'm here, doing this podcast with you right now. But, this was 2020 and I started my business in January, and then the pandemic kind of hit in March. And I was like, well, I guess the lunch and learns aren't happening and I have no other way to market. And it used to take me so long to do video. Like it would take me like weeks to like put things together and edit, and it was just so complicated. And so I just started doing these really simple lives every Tuesday at 7 p.m. in my Facebook group. And people started marking their calendars and showing up and inviting their team members. And it just started getting this like great momentum. And it was just a very natural, authentic way for me to market that didn't take a ton of time. So I don't think I fell in love with video the way most people probably think.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You were kind of like forced into it, really. But I love that. And I remember being similar to you. Like I was the kid who would literally hide under tables at family functions. And I am not kidding. I cried my senior year in high school when I was going to have to do a speech. Like video was not my jam. I remember the first time I went live was on Periscope back in the day. I literally sat, this is not an exaggeration, with my hand over the go live button for an hour before I finally hit it and did a video that I think one person came to and then was soaked in sweat after. But like you have to start somewhere, and now I love it. Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine not connecting with people over video and all of the good things that does. So I love that. That's the direction you ended up going in, because I know so many people need help with that. And today we're specifically talking about it as far as summits go. And I kind of want to dive into that. I know you're a big advocate for showing up live in the summit community, which is kind of something I have fallen away from. So I'm curious to hear from you why that's such a game changer from what you've seen.
Yeah. So I host summits. I run Go LiveCon, which I built in your accelerator program, and it's been so successful. I'm going to run it again this year. It'll be the fourth time, and it just gets better and better. But I felt like the live strategies I was teaching and that I naturally kind of, love fit so well. And the reason is because, as a summit host, like obviously you have a lot of authority that comes from, having all these people wanting to speak at your event, and you're the one who's sending the emails, and you're the one who's organizing, and you're the person they hear from. And a lot of it can be very organizational unless you have presentations or workshops that you're teaching during, which probably you're doing. But not everybody watches them, or sometimes they miss them. But in your community, if you are able to, like once a day or every other day or at the beginning or the end of your summit, show up for these like bite-sized authority building lives, and they don't have to be long. They could be 5 minutes, they could be 10 minutes, they could be 30 minutes, depending. It just really helps not just position you as an organizer who's good at gathering lots of pizza, but like you're an expert on the topic that you have curated like all of these speakers for. And I think that's been a big differentiator is I'm not just showing up as I built the event. I'm showing up as like the go-to expert who has brought all these people together.
Yeah, and I think that stands out so much. And I love that you're talking about this like as separate from any live sessions you might market during the summit itself. And I used to do this now that I'm thinking about it. When I used to run summits for designers, I would go live a couple times per week doing exactly what you said, just these short and sweet trainings to like get people in, get them excited, get them some quick wins before the summit, and to be like, hey, I'm here as more, like you said, more than just the person organizing this event. And they loved it. Yeah, I haven't. I think I've fallen away from it now that I've shifted to this different niche of summits. Maybe because of like a pattern I've seen with lower engagement before the summit starts. But like really, I could still probably benefit from doing it. And so many of my clients, especially in B2C niches, have just happen communities before their summit starts, and like should actually absolutely be doing this.
It's such a good taste too, like a taste of you, like in the, in the summit too, like it's pre-recorded, which is great because you can just show up and like feel good when you're running the event. But it's this real taste of like, what is it like to like really hear the way you explain things in real time and the way you're going to coach and the way you're going to like say hey to people in the comments, which sounds maybe simple, but in this like this age of like AI where people think everything is scripted, nothing is like authentic. Like I think it actually goes probably a longer way now than it did maybe when you were doing stuff for designers. Not to say it wasn't impactful then, but just because of the time we're living in.
I love that. Man, I should have done my hair today so I could go live right after we're done. I just put my hair up in a ponytail. It'll be fine. But okay, let's go a little deeper. So that was before the summit. Let's talk during summit. What types of live videos should hosts be doing during summit week then? Like, what is actually going to move the needle for engagement and for positioning them as the go-to expert versus just being like extra busy work?
Okay, so there's two things. So I always do, and this is what Utah is the kickoff call and the closing call. I'll do those live typically because I think the urgency is really good, like of being live. But I think the best types of videos are going to be these almost like call out videos of exactly what attendees are feeling and experiencing. And you'll kind of get a sense for this based on like messages you get or posts in the Facebook group. And I'll give an example. There was one summit that I was running where I just kept getting messages from people who were like, "Oh, I'm so behind. I'm so behind. I'm so behind." And I'm like, "You're not. You're fine. You're fine." And so the title of my live was "I'm so behind" to like arrow, I'm right where I need to be. And I showed up for 10 minutes and talked about how like if you feel behind, here's the shift that we need to make. Here are the sessions that you should watch, and just gave them kind of like a reframe around some of those things. And like people really appreciated that I took the time to answer. And the couple people that messaged me were not the only people feeling that. So it was a very highly engaged video. So though I think those call out videos are like some of the best ones, but it could also just be like simple tips about whatever the topic is. So it could be, if we had a day during the summit that was all about like video scripting, I could be like, if you felt overwhelmed by the scripting day, tune in. Let me give you the simplest action item that you can start with today or something like that. So like just like rounding type of things that help people implement.
I love that. I could see something like that working in almost any summit, like mid-afternoon, end of the day when people have had time to watch your sessions for that day, especially if you have like a theme for your days. Have something that will round it all out, bring it together, and handle any of that overwhelm. I think that's really smart. I love that. And I want to move on to like afterwards, but I think we should pause here because we're talking about these strategies that people can use. But like I said before, a lot of hosts get nervous about going live, especially people say, I'm an introvert. I don't want to go live, or they're worried about tech issues or whatever. What would you say to someone who's hesitant to hit that go live button?
Okay, so I think there's two approaches. You're either going to just say like screw it and do it and learn from it, which is one really valid option and I really like that option. Or if you're someone who needs like a little more reflection beforehand, you're going to think about like if you're afraid or you're hesitant, it's then of what? Like you're hesitant about what? You're hesitant because you're going to get hate comments, you're hesitant because you don't know what to say, you're hesitant because you feel like you don't have enough people there. We've got to figure out like the exact root of like what is it that's actually causing you to feel the way that you're feeling, because you can't start to take any type of action or move forward or get any type of advice if we just have this sort of like blanket I'm afraid or I don't want to do this. Like that doesn't mean anything. But if we can diagnose and then be like, okay, it's this, then I can say, okay, you're not sure what to say, here's my 7-part scripting framework. Or maybe it's confidence, just watch this quick little confidence booster and then just go for it. Like you'd approach it differently.
Oh, I love that so much. And I'm thinking back to what was it for me when I was sitting on Periscope. It was because it was one of the examples you gave. I did not have any sort of outline or script or anything. I had a topic, and I think what I was doing was sitting there running through it over and over again in my head, making sure I knew what I was going to say. I could have written out 5 bullets on a notepad and been so much better. And actually a lot of my videos now are, don't wanna say fully scripted, but close to it because I know that makes me feel so much more confident, and you can't tell in most of the videos. So I love that. What is the actual issue? Then look at ways to solve it, and Alex has so many resources for you. If we don't get to them before, we'll share them at the end of this episode. I bet she can solve pretty much any hesitation that you have.
Yeah, I
So
think
I
it
love
helps,
that.
and then you're not, like you're probably still gonna be scared, like, I don't want people
Yeah.
to be like, "Oh, I'm gonna solve it," and then not be scared. You're probably still gonna be scared, but, like, at least you'll have, like, some grounding, like, some starting point and, like, some proven framework to go from, and it's probably not gonna be as bad as you think, but
Yeah, and I also always like to look at it from the lens of, like, we started businesses. What's scarier than that? I don't know. I think we can do pretty much anything. We can hit the go live button. We already started this dang business and put ourselves out there. I know it's so easy to take action based on fear. I'm not gonna do this because I'm scared, but also if you flip it around, if I did do this, XYZ could happen, and that kinda gives me that motivation as well. So you're right, it will still be a little nerve-wracking. I still get nervous every once in a while based on what it is, but it gets easier.
no, it's so true, and I love that, and I love that you said that because my little mantra is always like, "How much scarier is it gonna be if I don't do this thing?" How much worse is it gonna be if I don't master this and then I don't get to where I wanna be and I'm sitting there 5, 10 years later and I haven't done it? So, I love that you said that.
Ah, so good. Okay, so let's change gears and talk after. So I know during summits it is so great to leverage video so that you are being seen by attendees in so many different ways and building trust and serving them better, and there's so many benefits, but there's so much power in continuing to show up on video after. I guess why would you say it is so powerful for that post-summit nurture period?
Well, I think kind of for some of the reasons, like I've already said, is like it is one of the best ways people get to like feel and hear and experience you like in the realest time. And like I get like posts do some of that, but I think this just takes it to another level. So I know a big portion of your audience, they're selling courses or memberships or like products where people have to like listen to them and hear them teach. And so like, I know for me, when I was brand new to, like, this online stuff, I would just buy programs from people without listening to them, and they were never very good, and so now I always listen because 'cause I'm like, I have to know that they are good at teaching, they're good at what they do, and then going from there. Like, for you, Krista, before I invested in Summit in a Box, like, I came to your workshops, I listened to those trainings, and I'm like, "Okay, I know this person's gonna be good in the program because they're so good on camera." And good on camera doesn't mean you have the best tech. I just mean like you know what you're talking about and it comes across well on camera. So I think you just don't get that same thing from posts. Like I think it's like if you're selling something like that, it's like a must now.
Ah, for sure. Okay. So, are there certain types of videos you would say work best for people to do after their summit?
Yeah, so I have this little it's like an acronym, I guess. It's called like the Power 5 videos. And it's like 5 videos that basically work for any type of industry and their categories. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, I don't know if it fits in." It probably fits in somewhere in these 5 because they're kind of broad. So the first one is like why now video. So this is like why now in 2026 in your industry in this time that whatever's going on in the world, why does your solution the solution? So that would be like you, Krista, talking about how summits are the thing you need to do now in 2026, even though there's a million other events you could run and all this noise out there. You're talking industry specific things. This could also be like when there's, holidays like Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, like whenever there's relevant things coming up, you integrate it into that video. So that's the first category. The second category is calling out like limiting beliefs people have or objections that people have. So it could be like, I don't have a big enough audience to run a summit, or I need certain tech, or my email list has to be a certain size, or just like whatever things are keeping people stuck because they're not going to move forward to that next step. So we have to address those. Then we have what I like to call like case studies, or we could think of them as like little mini playbooks too. So these are examples of, it's almost like what I would do if I were in your shoes. So I did a video recently that was last week that was what I would do in 2026 if I was starting from scratch with no viewership at all, no email list, and I had a brand new offer that I wanted to sell. And I pull up a Google Doc and I literally map out exactly what I would do. And so you can either like just map out the strategies that you would use and talk about those. Or there's times where I will bring clients on, like this coming Sunday, I have one of my clients who built an entire challenge in 13 weeks and, it did really well. And so we're going to interview and do like a little case study. So it could be like, if you don't have those case studies to interview, like do what I just said, like create those little playbooks on like Google Doc and share your screen and tell people what to do. The fourth one is about like you and building trust. So this could be like vulnerable stories or just stories about that your audience will relate to that will teach them like lessons. So it could be, I don't know, like when the first time I went live and what that experience was like and what lessons that they can take away from it. Something like that where they can get to know you on a deeper level. And then lastly is just like offer videos where you are literally just like, hey, this is what I'm selling. This is what I've got going on. So it's 4 out of 5 of your videos that you put out are like goodwill, are educational. And yes, you can sell you can have a call to action. They're probably in some ways almost better sales videos because they're giving people such big wins and aha moments. But it's sandwiched in between educational content. And then again, that offer video is like purely, here's the offer. You probably want in on this offer.
Okay. I love those. Thank you for sharing that framework. For people who don't have like YouTube channels or something, where would the best place be for them to be sharing these videos?
Really, wherever wherever your audience is, you can do these videos. I would just be cautious with Facebook now because of them deleting lives within 30 days. So if you're going to go live on Facebook, have a backup, like also stream onto YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever your other profile is. That's kind of just like a good rule of thumb too with like any lives you do or any videos you put out, like have a couple platforms, like two at most, maybe 3 that you put them out on, just so that in case they decide to change things up like Facebook, you don't get screwed. Like I lost a lot of live videos that had hundreds of comments because Facebook changed the policy. So just be careful with that.
That is painful. My goodness. Okay. And like, is there a certain cadence? Like, how often do you like to see people doing live videos?
Whatever you can commit to, as in like whatever you're not going to let yourself down. So if that's twice a month, cool. If that's once a week, great. I like to err on like the once a week side. I'm the once a week side. Like I got a lot going on, kids, family. Like there's a lot happening. So I'm like, I can commit to at least once. And I'll typically, like if I have an event or a launch happening, I'll ramp up and like increase the flow when something's going on. But do what you can commit to without breaking the promises to yourself of I'm going to do this and then you don't do it and then you lose trust and it's, you don't want that.
For sure. I know you have like a framework for how you create and publish these videos, and we'll share like links to all the things at the end. But could you give us kind of an overview of what that process looks like? Because I think a lot of people hear weekly video or even monthly video and immediately think like, this is going to take me hours and I don't know how I'm going to do that. But I know you have a much more streamlined system.
Yeah, my goal in my membership, I have a membership called the Video Skills Lab. It's $9 and I teach like all about scripting. And the script that I have is like our goal is to eventually get you to 20 minutes or less to prepping for your video and then you're done. Like you go live and you're done with it. You move on with your life. You have other things to worry about. And it's just like a fun thing that you get to do during the week instead of this heavy thing. So there's the reason it's easy is because you don't reinvent the wheel every week. It's 7 core components that go into that you fill every time. And it doesn't matter really what platform you're on. Like these are kind of like the basics. So I'll do the real quick like overview of it. But you have basically the hook first, which is like 30 seconds to a minute where you're drawing people in with like a story or questions or something to grab their attention. You don't want to be like, hey, hi, how's it going? Let me sit here for 5 minutes and wait for people to join. Like, just get into the thing. Just get into it because people are going to watch the replay and it's super awkward when they're just like trying to find the start and they're like, what's going on? Don't waste the beginning, hook them in. After that, you have the crazy not to say promise, which is basically one sentence where you're like, this is too good to leave. Like, this is exactly what you are going to learn. So if I was teaching my scripting framework, I would say, stick around for the next 10 minutes because you're going to learn my 7-part scripting framework that's going to allow you to, write your scripts in 20 minutes or less with no fuss. And without any other context, you'd be able to understand what the video was about just in that one clear sentence. Then we've got the authority builder. It's like 1-2 sentences about, it's basically like your I help statement, like who you are, who you help, pretty quick. After that, you can briefly be like, hey, this is my call to action. So maybe you want people to come to an event, or maybe you want people to sign up for something or buy something. You're going to briefly say what it is, tell people where to find it. At the end of the video is the second call to action where you go way, way deeper, but you don't want to like take up the whole time and like lose people. So deliver on what's promised and then tell them about the offer kind of at the end. After that, we have the engaging question, which is like one simple question that allows people to, engage on the live. So it could be like a yes or no question or true or false question. I could say something like, hey, how long is it taking you to script your videos right now? And people are just commenting the times. And it's so important to have an engaging question because it boosts the video. Like the more engagement you get, like the more you're going to then see whatever social platform you're on, push it out. Then we have a quick segue into, hey, okay, let's dive into the actual content. And then you teach the content. So whatever you promised in that crazy not to say promise, you're going to teach. And then you wrap up with the full call to action. So I think I hit all of them. I'm doing this off pure memory. Like you can see how, like Krista, we're on video now, but there's literally nothing in front of me. And it's just like memorized because when I go live now, I'm like, okay, hit this, hit that, hit that. And it's just these 7 things every time. And you're just plugging and playing. So it shouldn't take that long if you're clear on what your topic is.
For sure. And it felt like a very clear progression. Like I can see how once you're used to it, you can just kind of go through it because each step made sense with the steps before. So I love that. And I think, oh man, I think that's so helpful and can give people such a clear direction. And I think what I want to do is wrap us here. It kind of feels like a sudden stop, but I think their minds are going. They have ideas. They just heard the framework. They're ready to dive in. And I want you to share where they can go, what resources you have for them to dive into, where they can really like learn more about that framework and start to implement it. So would you be up for sharing those with us?
Yeah, of course. So, well, the first one I mentioned the video skills lab. So it's typically $9 a month. It's like a crazy deal. You get like all the scripts and the training, and I do live Zoom calls. The best part, I think, is the live script reviews that I do every week. People submit that script I just went through, and I literally audit every single person's script every single Monday, whoever submits. But I've had people like for years, like submitting these scripts, and they just get better and better and better. So anyway, you guys can join for $1. Krista, I think you'll put the coupon code and all that, but you can get in for $1 on that. Or for free, you could watch the live video crash course, which basically goes through like what it sounds like the crash course for live video. It goes through like some tech stuff and it goes through like some strategy stuff. It goes through a little bit of scripting stuff. Yeah, so those are the big 2 ways, I think.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, number one, all those resources, but really everything you shared in this episode. This is such a high value episode, both for during your summit and then for after. I feel like we got a 2-for-1 with this. So thank you so much, Alex. And thank you so much to everyone listening for show notes and the resources mentioned. So the video crash course for free and 30 days in the video skills lab for $1. just go to the link in the episode description. We're going to have both of those things for you there, as well as a link to Alex's community where I'm guessing you can see it all put into action. But for now, go out and take action to plan, strategize, and launch your high converting virtual summit.